All right, let's review last weekend's fights. Starting off with Alen Babic versus Tom Little. Babic won in, I believe it was the third round. I thought it was a very good performance by the Savage. I know it's only against Tom Little. Little is an area level fighter, but he has been in there with the likes of Filip Hrgovic, Daniel Dubois, and several other top up-and-coming heavyweights. And if you compare Babic's performance against Little to their performances against Little, it's right there on par. So you can't do any more than that. Babic is crude. He swings wide shots. He looks like he's a sitting duck for a good counterpuncher. But at the same time, he is clearly carrying some power there, despite the fact that he's a small, very small heavyweight, a cruiserweight, really. He's relentless, and he has an iron will from what we've seen so far. And occasionally you get fighters who defy wisdom and logic in terms of the success they're able to have. Joe Joyce is one of those guys. I'm going to talk about Joe Joyce in a separate video with regards to his upcoming fight against Daniel Dubois this weekend. And I've mentioned in the past that to me, Joyce is an optical illusion because he looks so novice-y, not just amateurish, but novice-y. It is absolutely incredible that this guy was able to be so successful in the amateurs and even in the World Series of Boxing, where he beat Filip Hrgovic. You just look at Joyce and the way he fights, how slow he is, how open he seems to be, and you think, how on earth is he able to do all this? Alen Babic could be something similar. I'm not saying he definitely is. I'm saying he could be. Because he did have a decent number of amateur fights. Not many of them, as far as I'm aware, were high-level international fights. I think it was mainly in Croatia, his home country. But nonetheless, he was experienced in the amateurs. He has sparred Filip Hrgovic extensively. He keeps calling him out. And so far, so good as a pro in terms of the results. If you look at his record on paper, getting Shaundell Winters out of there in 2 rounds, when he went like 5 with Joseph Parker, that's a good result. Knocking Tom Little out in 3 is a good result. So far so good for Alen Babic. And even if he doesn't become a top contender or, dare I say it, a champion at heavyweight or bridgerweight, one of these weights, even if he doesn't go on to achieve major success, at the end of the day, he's still an entertaining fighter. And that's why he's building up this cult following. You've got Dave Allen retiring, and Dave Allen had this cult following in British boxing. Seems like Babic could replace him as the cult favorite of British boxing fans. And you can see why. Because as soon as the opening bell sounds, this guy comes tearing out of, the corner like a bat out of hell. And he's a bull in a china shop, and he will not stop throwing punches until either the opponent folds or maybe Babic gasses himself. What's not to like about that from an entertainment perspective? He is the perfect Saturday night slugger. For a Saturday night fight night on Sky Sports, what more could you ask for? Right, for a free entertainment. Obviously, you've got to pay your Sky subscription, but I'm talking about it's not behind the pay-per-view paywall. At least this fight wasn't. He wasn't fighting on the undercard of a pay-per-view show, although he probably will be when he fights on the Dillian Whyte undercard. But still, he is the perfect Saturday night slugger, popcorn, heavyweight contender who's just going to go out there and give people what they want without any fiddling around or messing about. And it's not just his performances in the ring, of course. It's his performances outside the ring with regards to his interviews. People like the fact that he's playing on this, stereotype of the Eastern European hard man. The old school Soviet Eastern Bloc, stone cold mentality. He's playing on that to very good effect. People in the West tend to be drawn to that kind of thing. It appeals to them, and it definitely appeals to me. I'm not going to lie to you. Right now, Alen Babic might be my favorite heavyweight. I'm not saying he's the best heavyweight at all, but just in terms of my favorite heavyweight to watch because I know he's going to deliver fun, he might be my favorite right now. Yep, Alen Babic, the Savage. So long may his success continue. We'll see who they match him up against in his next fight. It's probably going to be on a Dillian Whyte undercard in, when's that, back end of January they're looking at. So give me your suggestions in the comments below, people. Who do you think Babic should be fighting next? Who do you think he will fight next? And no disrespect to Dave Allen. Great guy. But based upon Allen's, unwillingness to fight anybody decent over the past, let's say 6 months, because this has now been revealed by Eddie Hearn, and also that sparring footage where he was hurt by Usyk, he was out on his feet. He probably made the right decision by retiring and not facing Alen Babic in the ring. Because based upon what I'm seeing at the moment, Alen Babic would beat Dave Allen, and not just beat him, but beat him up. So, it is what it is. I mean, Tom Little, as limited as he is, he does have pretty quick hands. And he did come in light for this fight. I talked about maybe, coming in light could weaken him potentially. Did it weaken him, didn't it? I don't know. But he does have pretty quick hands. He did manage to counter Babic a few times, but to no avail. You're going to have some kind of punching power, serious punching power, to keep Alen Babic off. He's not impossible to hit whatsoever. But when you hit him, you got to make sure that you're hurting him or you're buzzing him. If not, then this is the kind of treatment you're going to get. The kind of treatment that Tom Little got, where he just got bludgeoned to the canvas. He tried his best. He tried to move a little bit early on. When that wasn't working, he tried to stand with Babic, and that didn't work either. He just could not stand up to the iron will of the Savage. So, yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying the Alen Babic journey. However far it ends up going, it's an enjoyable journey. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below about Alen Babic's performance against Tom Little on the weekend. Were you impressed? Did you like it? And, as far as can he carry on this type of work rate past 3 or 4 rounds, there are some fighters who have abnormally good stamina. And again, don't get upset, don't get your knickers in a twist when I mention this name. But there was a heavyweight back in the 60s and 70s, very similar dimensions to Babic, who had unbelievable stamina. He could fight 15 rounds, non-stop punching. His name was Smoking Joe Frazier. Now, I am not saying Babic is as good as Smoking Joe Frazier. Again, don't have a hissy fit. Don't get outraged. All I'm saying is, there are heavyweights who come along that have abnormally good stamina. If Babic isn't anywhere near as good as Joe Frazier technically, is it possible that he has a similar level of stamina where he can just throw and throw and throw and throw for the duration of a fight? I guess we'll find out, but it's not unprecedented for a heavyweight of that kind of size to have that type of work rate for the full duration of a 12-round fight. I mean, Joe Frazier, when he fought Ali in the first fight, non-stop for 15 rounds. Second fight, non-stop for 12 rounds. Third fight, in Manila, very hot. Ali, put a good amount of punishment on him, and obviously this was after Joe Frazier got destroyed by Foreman. Frazier wasn't really quite the same in that third fight. I mean, neither of them were, but Frazier was more depleted than Ali, and Ali did manage to stop him. But that was like, after 14 rounds when Frazier got pulled out? So, yeah, unbelievable stamina that little man had, Joe Frazier. So, anyway, let me know what you guys think about the Savage, Alen Babic, and his performance against Tom Little last weekend. If you'd like to access all my boxing content advert-free and enjoy the convenience of listening via a podcast app with the option to download in high-quality MP3, then consider joining me on Patreon. In addition to the aforementioned perks, you'll also gain access to exclusive weekly live stream Q&A sessions and hangouts, as well as uncensored, no-holds-barred uploads, which are too blue for YouTube. This includes my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. Just head on over to my Patreon page and select the tier called Hatman Boxing Extra. There's no contract, there's no commitment, it's only £2.50 a month, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of hardcore boxing enthusiasts by signing up with me here on Patreon today.